Right. Well, in the capacity of the director, my name is Professor Gatari, and I'm the director of the Institute of Nuclear Science. So in that capacity, let me welcome all of you, especially those I don't know and who don't know me. Let me also request, give protocols for those who have not used this system before. And Wilson, you can add this when I if I miss something. Where you see your microphone, your camera, there are 3 dots. So if you want to speak when the time comes for speaking, you have the raising hand, you click on that. I think the next is the chat box where you can, write a message. You can even write a question, which we shall pick, and then somebody will answer if you are not able to speak. Because it would be nice if you can ask it yourself. Then there are 2 people there, one taller than the other. That tells you who is around. We shall, at the beginning, we will request you put in your camera so that John Biril can take a snapshot of everybody. Let me also say that I managed to have small money. So those who are in Kenya will get 500 shillings to assist in their bundles, purchasing of their bundles, because it has turned out to be a very expensive business. And probably those who are outside, if they have especially the key people, if they have accounts in Kenya, they'll get 1,000 shillings, assuming that 500 will disappear in their high level of costs because they live in more expensive countries than Kenya. And with that, I will give Wilson, personally, I will mute. If you have a question, you can ask now. For the director, that is. For now, I'll hand over to Wilson, who was organizing this. And I'll mute, and my camera will be off until I'm requested to put it on for the snapshot. Thank you, and I'm quite happy that you all managed to come. We shall take the register of everybody who is here. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Director. I think he has already welcomed all of us, and it's good to see you all, that you are keeping safe. And I think before we start, maybe we can have somebody pray for us. So today we'll be having a webinar on the empowerment of women in higher education through MSc Nuclear Science, and we have some of our students who have gone through our programs who are in the north. So maybe before I hand over to our moderator, who happens to be Susan Karoga, we can have Sister Nancy. Can you pray for us kindly? Okay, seems like Sister Nancy is not around. So I'll pray before we go. Almighty and Heavenly Father, we thank you for such an opportunity as this to meet together as a family. We bless your name and glorify you because you've kept each and everyone safe. We commit all our plans which are ahead of us to you. May you guide us and lead us. As we come out of this meeting, Father, may it be of benefit to us and to our student. In the name of Jesus Christ, we do pray and give thanks. Amen. So, as the director had said, we'll start by taking a group photo. So I'd request that each one of us to turn on your camera briefly, and then you can turn it off. Yeah. So Biril, you can let us know when you're done.
some
Tarus,
people
your camera.
turning on their cameras.
Tarus. Oof.
Yes, Professor, I can hear you.
Your camera. Put it on.
What about? I am okay. Sure.
Good.
Oh, well. Actually, unfortunately, I cannot place it anywhere because I just want to listen.
We can see you. We can see you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I may need to turn it off or something. Well.
No, just stay like that.
Okay. You may be seeing my silhouette or something.
Now we can see you clearly.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Sister Nancy has gone off also. So, John, tell us when you are ready. Yeah, John, you can take 2 or 3 photos depending on the number of people around, instead of trying to squeeze everybody in.
Well, the thing is, when I try to to see everybody, it becomes very unclear.
Yeah. So the best thing is to take one. You start with us, then you go to the next page. Karen, put your camera on. Yeah. It appears things are not working. Or we do it later.
Yeah, John. Maybe you can do it after the talk.
I think we can do it also later.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, fine.
So once again, I want to welcome.
Mombasa mainland.
So you can mute your mic when you're not speaking. So as the director had given some direction, so if you have, as we continue with the talk, you can type in your questions, and we'll ask the panelists as we move along. So I want to welcome my colleague Susan Karoga, who is the moderator for today's talk. She's working with us. I don't know whether we have people who are from outside. She's a tutorial fellow at the Institute of Nuclear Science, and also doing her PhD, I think, in the north, in a way. So Susan, karibu sana. Welcome. You can take it over from here.
Thank you so much, Cairo, and also the director. It's another really interesting session to have women on board who are pursuing science. So welcome to this session as we get to know better, or rather to understand what it feels to be a woman in this field of science. And usually it's funny because when you mention the word scientist, even to a small kid, the image that appears at the back of the mind of anyone there is an old man who is white and wearing a lab coat. And going further, it's a person with an awkward personality or even a workaholic. This is a myth, and we need to demystify it, because why a male? Why an old person? today we are privileged to have a set of very young women who are empowered in different areas, and they will take us through their journeys as in their different paths in science and how the different challenges that they went through to overcome, and we'll get to understand what it has taken them to be there at the top. And I hope that by the end of this webinar, someone will get encouraged, someone will change, will have a changed mindset, because I believe it will be interesting. So at the Institute of Nuclear Science, I don't know whether we have guests outside the University of Nairobi. This is an institute based under the College of Architecture and Engineering, and it has provided a very conducive environment for women. And when I talk of women, I also refer to girls, yeah, women and girls related. This is because we appreciate, or rather recognize, that women and girls are vulnerable in the community. This is because we find that these people are the most likely victims of gender violence. Even poverty affects a young girl differently from the way it affects the brother, as in the man in the house. Women are also very vulnerable when it comes to harmful cultural attitudes and even beliefs. But that's why we need to support women in the community. It's not about fighting for equality and this equity thing, but you have to understand that we have got different milestones in life. We face different challenges. And at the Institute, we aim at creating safe spaces for women and girls, and also it has ensured creating increased access of facilities and even opportunities. And that's why we have these beautiful ladies who have passed through the Institute and are making it in life. In the long run, we hope that this will narrow the gender gaps in education and also in training, and this will empower the society in a big way. So today in our panel, we have 4 ladies. We have Miss Angela. We also have Miss Linda Kirinya Karea. We have Miss Christine Yawira Matindi and also Miss Anne Mutahi. These are PhD students working in different areas and also in different places. And the common denominator among them is that all of them passed through the Institute. You are a first year, you just joined the Institute. You should feel challenged. It can be done because of such people that you see here today. And at this moment, it would be fair for me to give each one of them a chance to introduce themselves, to tell us what they do, to tell us more about their affiliations, and to tell us how the master's course at the Institute of Nuclear Science has paved a path for them to be where they are today. And to start us, we shall give a chance to Ms. Anne Jeriniendo. The floor is yours. Karibu sana.
Now, can I suggest, because I'm raising my hands, can I suggest we see you, Susan, unless you have problems with the networks? Let's all of you, the 5 of you, let's see your faces. We shall keep our cameras down ourselves.
Okay, over to you, Anne.
Hi everyone. Thank you, Susan. I was waiting for you to put on your camera because I can't see you. Anyway, my name is Anne. I'm sure I've met most of you, and for those that I haven't met yet, nice to meet all of you, and I hope everyone is doing all right. Just to sort of give you a brief background about myself, I come from Nairobi, but I grew up in Gilgil, Nakuru County, and then I joined University of Nairobi for my undergraduate studies, where I did Bachelor's of Science in Astronomy and Astrophysics. And then after graduating, I worked for a government commission for almost 1 year as an intern. Sorry, I hope everyone can hear me clearly. Prof, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, okay, but we need you, Susan, if you don't mind, Susan, to raise up your, so that we see you well. We are only seeing the top of your eyes. Yeah, come up again.
Okay.
Right, that's better.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, so I worked for this government commission for about 1 year, and I remember I was so frustrated. I wasn't getting any employment opportunities, considering that I had graduated at the top of my class. So I was quite frustrated, and I believe most of you have gone through this process. And also disappointed that, you know, I have a physics background, but seems like with science, you can't get a breakaway back at home. And I remember at some point I even wanted to change the trajectory of my career and go into something different. And I remember I applied for a course at Kenyatta University for a master's in environmental policy and management. And at the same time, I applied for this MSc NEB scholarship at the Institute of Nuclear Science. And I remember I attended class at KU for like 3 weeks, and then just before I paid the school fees, I got a call from the secretary of the institute, and she told me, come pick up your letter, and then you have a meeting with the director on a certain date. So there I was, I looked at the scholarship like, hey, they're paying for me to do this course, and they're also paying me to come and do this course. And here I'm paid, so, and I still love physics, so why not go to the institute and see what happens. So I joined the institute back in class of 2015. And after the coursework, I got an opportunity to travel to South Africa for a training, but a training in astronomy with an astronomy background. And I remember after I came back, the South African people offered for me an opportunity to go and do my master's in South Africa, but now master's in astronomy. And the program was similar to the one at Institute, whereby you have to do 2 years, 1 year of coursework and another 1 year of research work, and followed by a thesis. And I remember I thought about it. There's no need for me to go and start a whole new master's and leave another master's hanging. So I came back, I spoke with then school director. I told him how this was opportunity, but I'm thinking instead of going over and starting a whole new master's, if it's possible for me to combine my coursework at the university and the research work in South Africa to get my master's. And I was very grateful because the director agreed and was very supportive. And my research work was an astronomy, radio astronomy background, and just looking at the impact that a group of radio telescopes around Africa could have on global radio astronomical observations. And when I talk about a group of telescopes, we have some redundant satellite communication dishes, like the ones, if you travel from Maimahiu to Naivasha, you've seen some satellite dishes somewhere in Longonot. So there were plans and there were funding to convert similar dishes across Africa. So my study was trying to look at the impact that these telescopes could have. And also, yeah, so when I talk about radio and radio astronomy, so when I talk about radio and radio astronomy, we know that in nuclear science, we tend to deal more with
no problem. Okay, sawa.
Sorry, Anne. I think there's someone who has not muted their mic. Please, guys, mute your mics.
Continue. I'll mute them, all of them.
All right. So thank you, Biril. So when I talk about radio, we know that in nuclear science, we tend to deal with gamma rays and X-ray, but as you move up across the electromagnetic spectrum, you move from X-rays, gamma rays, all the way to UV, to infrared, to radio. So basically using radio waves to observe the solar system, galaxies and stars and all that. So I finished my project for 2 years with the support from the Institute. And before finishing, I got a scholarship opportunities. Actually, I got to one in South Africa and another one to come to the UK. But first I had to graduate. So I graduated in 2018 and I opted to take up the scholarship in the UK. So here I am, I've been here for slightly over 2 years. in my third year of my PhD. My PhD is supposed to take 3.5 years. So if all goes well, I should be finishing in 2022. And basically, I'm still using radio astronomy to study stars and galaxies and all that. Yeah, so that's about me and my academic background. And aside from that, this year I've been participating in this study of the COVID-19 data from across African countries. And we're just trying to look at the evolution of COVID across Africa by fitting different models and trying to understand. And we are working towards publishing a paper. So I've been working on that for since the beginning, I think around April. And I'll be giving a talk at the South African Institute of Physics on the 4th of December. So if you're free, I'll share the link with Kairu, then he can share the link with you, and please feel free to join. And they're also looking for a partner, for someone with a medical background, doing research work and that kind of stuff. I don't know anyone from Kenya, but if you're here or if you know someone who would be interested in joining such a project, kindly let me know and I will connect them with the person in charge, because the project is growing, it's evolving, and they are getting more funding to carry on with the research work. Yeah, besides that, I've also started a sort of mentorship program for young school girls in Kenya. And looking at statistics, they show that most people sit for KCP, but few people sit for KCC. There's a gap between KCP and KCSE, and more so among girls. So I've started this mentorship program whereby we are mentoring girls as they finish standard 8, and we aim to track them across secondary school and help where we can. If want to keep them in school, we want to ensure 100% transition between KCP and KCC. So if they encounter any challenges such as early pregnancies, early marriages, and all that, in any way that we can be able to help, we come in and we try and sort them out, so that to ensure that they actually stay in school and to ensure that they actually complete secondary education. And the project is growing, and next year we also implement a sort of a STEM mentorship, and we'll conduct a few workshops across several day public secondary schools, where we want to mentor girls in Form 1 and Form 2 in STEM, to encourage them to take up STEM and especially physics. We want to see the number of girls picking up physics in Form 3 and sitting for the physics national exam in KCC increase over time. Yeah, so that's all about me. Thank you. Back to you, Susan.
Thank you so much, Anne, for your really inspiring story. I hope, I think if everyone else got it like I did, there are a lot of opportunities out there for the woman, yeah, or rather for that person who is really hardworking. And they say that a girl should be doing who she wants or what she wants. And we've heard it from Anne. Good work, Anne, and all the best.
Thank you, Susan.
Yeah, and now we are ready to hear the side of the story from Miss Linda Kirinya. Karibu sana.
Linda, you are muted.
I hope everyone can hear me. Okay. I want to thank God for this fight. It's been a particularly difficult year for everybody. So it has taken the hand of God, of our Father, to be here. But I'll talk a little bit about my journey up to where I am right now. So I was born in Nairobi, but I was raised in a small village called Meru. And I had very supportive parents who put it in my mind that I could do anything that I anything I wanted to be, I could be. So I went through primary school, went through high school, and I remember when I got my KCSE results, they were good results, but I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was just a confused little girl who has just finished Form 4. So we sat down with my parents, had a chat. He consulted his friends, and I remember telling him I have an aptitude for math and understanding science. So one of his friends suggested, why not do engineering? So that said and done, I joined University of Nairobi and did engineering. I did environmental and biosystems engineering. And now it's currently biosystems engineering, or maybe if you might understand it better because it deals more with agricultural stuff. So it's basically just agricultural engineering. And I graduated top of my class. And I remember I was going to clear that day with my chairman at the Department of Environmental and Biosystems Engineering, and I got a call from my father and told me there's an interesting advert on the newspaper that talks about nuclear science and the Kenya Nuclear Electricity Board giving scholarships to outstanding students. Would you be interested in that? So I dilly-dallied a bit, and then my father knew that I had a passion for energy. So I finally put in my application. I remember it was the deadline, it was the last day at 4. So I put in my application there, and I thank God that it got through. So I joined the Institute of Nuclear Science in 2014 under scholarship of the Kenya Nuclear Electricity back then. Now it's called NUPEA. So I went through the first year of coursework. I did well, but now I was going to my research work. Now, because it's a very personal journey, as I was doing my research work, I also was carrying my first child. And I remember it was, sometimes women, we always tend to think it's all women against men, but I can totally assure you sometimes you need the men. So I went to my professor there. Professor Gatari was one of my supervisors, and I had a chat with him, and we decided that we will continue with the research. So I got to meet to network with my supervisors who are the supervisors that have supervised me at master's level. Two of them are still my supervisors at PhD level. So I got to do my research work with them, and I remember we worked on a desalination system. And we have given talks about it. We have presented it in different conferences. It was a blast working with with my supervisors. They encouraged me throughout my O period. I have also had an opportunity to work with Susan here. So it's through a really, my master's was really a collaborative effort between my colleagues, my supervisors, and of course, the support from my family. So it doesn't, I like to say behind every woman, there is usually a battalion of people working with you. So we finished my master's. I finished my master's degree. And after that, I remember I went back to my supervisors. One was Professor Gatari and another professor in the Netherlands. And I told him I really want to do my PhD. And then he told me, okay, child, everything, family, balancing all these things together. He told me, okay, we will try and see if there's an opportunity comes along. So my other supervisor, maybe some of you have met Professor Jan Marinissen, had a colleague at the university, at the Delft University of Technology, and they had funding for a certain project. So I had an opportunity to talk with Professor Kelder, my main supervisor right now, and we came up with he talked about the field in which he's working, and I had a chat with the three of them, And that's how my PhD came up, through networking using my director, then my supervisor's networks. And that's how I ended up at my PhD, pursuing materials for batteries. And the reason why this is a very interesting research topic for me and for the world currently is because currently we are moving away from fossil fuels, what we call hydrocarbons, and we are transitioning into greener, cleaner energy. For you to be able to have greener, cleaner energy, you need proper storage materials, and that means we need efficient batteries. The batteries we have currently in the market are especially the lithium ion ones right now we have in the market, especially for tropical countries, they have some shortcomings. So we are developing new batteries with new material testings, I like also my Professor Kelda likes telling, we are challenging the frontiers of science. We want to know more. We want to see what we can do with what we have. So we are expanding knowledge, creating new knowledge together. It is not what we would call an easy path, but you have to understand a PhD is not it's not really it's a partnership of so many things. Sometimes you will fail. Sometimes you will test ideas. You will go to the lab, test your idea. It fails. You tweak it. You talk to your colleagues. You get days of frustration. You get days where you do not even understand what your supervisor is telling you. But that is the process. That is how you grow a researcher. If you were to ask people who have invented things, they will tell you they failed so many times. So failure is really a way, when people talk about failure, it's just you knowing not to go that way. Okay, this has not worked. Let me go this other way. And especially for women, people like me, for example, right now, I have failed in so many things, to be honest, but I have learned that when I am down, I am not out. It just means I have to wake up, brush myself up, stand up again, and walk. And I will walk until I can walk no more. And I thank God that I've had very supportive networks with supervisors, with colleagues. These people you hear here, John, Susan, Wilson, some of the other students. These are people you will see me interacting a lot with. You draw lessons from them. They will have ideas you will not have. So a PhD is a collaboration for all those people, and especially for women who are at different points of their lives. You know, a man can just say today we will walk and go do a PhD, and they will not really they will just walk and go. A woman, at some point, you will get married, you will have children. These are not obstacles. These are not reasons why you should not be. I remember there's a time we have a mentorship program we ran with Susan, and some of the girls here are also part of that mentorship program. I remember I encountered a girl who said that if you study a lot, that you will not get married, or if you study a lot, this and this will not happen. It's all myths and stuff. You have to stand up. You have to pursue your dreams. You have to be bold enough to actually go into some of, if you think Professor will help you, if you think Susan will help you, be bold enough, because women don't talk. Our voices are I don't know, our voices are very, I don't know if it's the culture, it's our culture, the way we are brought up culturally. We tend not to speak up for ourselves, but we should speak up for ourselves. And a woman who speaks it's not that you're being disrespectful. You're not saying do not be disrespectful. So stand up for yourselves. If you think there's someone somewhere who can help you, go there, explain yourself, tell them I want this, I can do this, I can do this. And you will go a long way. So that has been my journey. I've had especially through the MSc, I got to learn. I'm an engineer, so by the time I was getting into the nuclear science field, it was very, very new to me. Things like atoms and things like those were completely new to me. So when we were a whole bunch of people from different disciplinaries. We had chemists, we had physicists, we had engineers like myself. We had I I think those were majorly the three groups of people, students I went to class with. And you could always see when the teacher was talking, you could see that the physicists are getting it faster than the engineers are, or maybe the chemists are. But that did not discourage me. You put in more effort where you know that you're maybe you're not quite fluent in something. So we went through that. It was quite multidisciplinary. I got to learn a whole new world of detectors, and those detectors have helped me. At the PhD, they have really helped me, gotten to learn the principles behind them, gotten to learn to know that these are tools I can use as research. I've gotten to network with incredible, amazing people who have helped me throughout my research journey. I have also met incredible technicians at the institute. I can see Bat here as well. They have helped everybody. So at the institute, it's not just the hardcore theory. There are so many other things you can get from there. There are students who are doing interesting things in their researches. Sit down, talk to them, understand them, grow, use their lessons, use their research, use their knowledge to grow you as a person. But as a woman, one of the biggest thing I got from Professor, because he has mentored me, he has been my supervisor since I was my first and second in my first, and he's still one of my supervisors, is to always speak. To always speak. And one of the things he taught me how to speak was how to present. I had no idea. You know, when you're at a PhD level, or when you're even presenting your research at your MSc level, they expect that you can be able to talk for yourself. Now, if you go to if your supervisor tells you something, or tells you have a presentation at a conference at a certain point, and you can't even speak, it becomes hard, and you get things like stage fright. So we do not, at the institute, it just didn't give me all these scientific principles. It also gave me these soft skills. That I remember the first presentation I ever did was in, I think it was in nuclear electronics, and I was supposed to stand in front of a group of 20 people and explain concepts. It was not easy, but it has become easier over time. So sometimes it's because even if you have all the knowledge and you're not able to put it out there, it becomes useless knowledge. So all these skills, if you're able to package them together, you have a successful research career, you have a successful PhD career. People will want to speak with you because you speak with confidence. It's very hard to trust someone who doesn't say things with confidence, like they know what they're saying. And I meet a lot of women, even some of the students I've had the privilege of teaching, they do not have that confidence in them. So sometimes when we force you to speak, you have to learn how to speak and air out your issues. So that has been my journey, and I'll give it back to Susan.
Thank you so much, Linda. It's a very interesting journey, a journey through motherhood, a journey through a Master of Science course, and also a journey through PhD. You're a strong woman. And I agree with you that PhD is a maze. As in, once you are there inside, I'm not trying to scare anyone, but once you get inside there, you're not even sure where the exit or the entrance is. But it requires some strength. And strong people are not perfect people. Strong people fail a million times, but every time they fail, they rise up and walk again. And this strength, when you decide to do it, when it starts with your mindset, it will work. And you're a very strong woman, Linda. Thank you for encouraging a lot of people in this forum today, and also encouraging us to speak up. As a girl, everyone should speak up. You need to try to speak up. Biril, excuse me, Biril.
Yeah, I've muted her.
Yeah. So I'm saying that Linda has encouraged us to speak up. And as a woman, you should learn to speak up. Even if your voice is shaky, just speak up. Thank you so much. Christine, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay, good.
Thank you.
Yes.
For those who don't know me, my name is Christine Matindi. I'm very happy to be here with you all, and happy. It's kind of a reunion for me with all my family from the Institute of Nuclear Science and Technology at the University of Nairobi. Thank you for having me here. Just a brief history about myself. I was born in Nyeri, but I've spent most of my adult life in Nairobi. I have a background in industrial chemistry from the University of Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. And for me, I can say that my journey into science started quite early. I have always had a passion to do science. I would never imagine myself doing anything else. I remember even when I was little, I would love doing chromatography. It was one of the most interesting things I had to do. So during my my time in the university at JKUAT, instead of going home for the holidays, I would offer to work as a research assistant with a professor who was there. His name is Professor Keriko, and I would do the odd jobs, like maybe recycle hexane or go get samples for students, make sure that the samples don't dry up, just those simple jobs. But it was my first-hand experience to be, like wholly immersed in the field of research and science. And after my undergraduate, when I was still working in Jomo Kenyatta and I was taken up as a research assistant, the advert for nuclear science came up. And I remember having the discussion with my sister, and she asked me, are you sure you want to do this? How does it even come in line with chemistry? And I remember telling her that I had been to the institute and they had specifically said that they wanted people who had background in chemistry, they wanted people with background in physics, and they wanted engineers, people who can be able to bring together various aspects of nuclear science, because it's just not a field, it's an agglomeration of many sciences. So she was like, yeah, go for it. And actually, I actually never got the scholarship in the first instance. And I remember I got the scholarship after there were several students who dropped out, and some of the students who were in waiting, that is me and another 2 students, we were taken in, and that's when I got into nuclear science. And I remember during the presentations, Professor Gatari was like, don't think this is rocket science. Yeah, it's not that difficult. We're just going inside the atom. It's not that difficult. And the lessons were quite interesting. And I remember it was the first time I had seen an internationally published paper. And I got interested how people and it was an old paper. I think it was from 1980s there. And they also shared their research from back then. And it got me very interested in the stuff that we were doing and the analytical equipment. It was the first time I had seen anything related to radiation. We had the EDXRF and the gamma instrument in the where they do the analysis in the next building, and also the TXRF. So working as a chemist doing these analytical tests got me really excited. I remember when we had to queue for the instruments for TXRF, and we had to wait for some time because we had to book throughout the year. And I remember when I got the chance to actually work with the instruments, I used to come to the school at 6 a.m. and I would leave at 10 p.m. in the night. I remember Mr. Batilol, I don't know whether he's here, he would leave me and tell me, if you don't close the door, I will not let you come here tomorrow. So for 2.5 months, I worked alone. I can say that it's a blessing in disguise, although I know it's something that maybe not, it's a bit difficult for the institute, but not having enough teachers drove the students to expand their research, to find out more for yourself, not always to depend on the teacher. Because if we had many teachers, we would always be, professor, I have a problem with this, and they were not always there because they had so many students to supervise. They also had administrative duties. So we had to do a lot of research by ourselves. We had to network with each other, support each other as students. Like, I'm failing in this, I can't put up this, I can't do this. And I remember that's how we became better scientists, and it became something interesting. You'd find people, we were scientists who did not have jobs. We would come to school every day. It didn't matter whether you were a girl or a boy, you'd come to the school every day and just try and build your thesis small, little by little, because the opportunity you get with your supervisor is so tiny that when you just get that information, you just go and blow it up into something that is useful. So me interested even when I got to work. I'm still an employee of at the government chemist in Nairobi, and instrumentation, as always, again came up, and I always love how instruments work. And I remember our main focus in nuclear science is non-destructive testing. So when we are using wet chemistry and the non-destructive testing methods, I found that the non-destructive methods are more comprehensive, they are more sensitive than even the wet chemistry. So when I chose to apply for a PhD, I was looking for something that can bridge that, something that can take me further into materials, into testing and into research using non-destructive testing. And said, life can get difficult, because I remember I applied like, I think about 8. And each time I would get cancelled, And I started now wondering, is it because I'm a girl? Or is it because I'm Black? Now things start getting into your head. You start thinking that maybe it's something wrong with you. But the truth is, the science field is leveled. Right now, it's not anybody is special. We are not special just because you're a girl. If someone is better than you, they're better than you. So you have to up your game. So when I finally got my the scholarship where I am in China, it's in material science and engineering. And at first, I didn't even understand what it was fully about, because material science and engineering is so wide. So I just hoped that the proposal that I had written, mainly on membranes and water treatment, would have been sufficient. When I finally got it, it was actually in line with what I did with my master's. In my master's program at the institute, I was doing testing. I was using TXRF. I was using nuclear techniques, application techniques, for the analysis of water, for the purposes of there was bioremediation. We were also using it for biogas. It was a coinciding process, a coinciding project. So I was very happy that I can actually get to advance my research from my master's into my PhD. It may not be direct, like, because now they are doing recycling of water, while the other one was about fresh water sources. But now I can actually be able to link the two. And right now, I can guarantee you that in the field of materials testing, 90% of the techniques that we use are non-destructive testing, and they're nuclear-based. And I was so grateful that I had that chance to have, even though that small planting, that small introduction to an instrument that or non-destructive testing. And I was not so lost. I would have thought that I would have been lost during my first years during the classes. It was easy to catch up because the principles were the same. And currently, I'm working with organic membranes for water treatment. And we've already, I'm a second author in one of the papers that were published recently. And it was my pride and joy to remember the papers that Professor Gattari used to share with us. And I was like, finally, my name is in a paper. And my experience here in China has been actually very awkward as a woman, because in China, you would expect that there would be a higher population of women. This is a very advanced country, but the same way that the world views science is only for the same way it's observed here. it's even so strong here that jobs are directly advertised for men. Like a job specifically says, we want a man for this job. And I was so surprised to see that in an advanced country such as this, that the women have to put extra effort to actually show that they are, we are worth to be in science. And for us, it's more of a cultural thing, it's for them, they have the opportunities and they're still being suppressed. I was so surprised. It was such a shock to me. I couldn't believe it. And every time we'd talk, even the guys would ask me, like, I have a very inquisitive desk mate who keeps asking me, do women in your country do sciences? And I'm like, yes, I'm here, aren't I not? And how many are they? Well, I told him they're not as many, but it's just like here in China. And he said, yeah, here in China, we prefer when the women just, just do their masters and then you have babies and it's the way they talk. But I was very surprised to see that it's not just in developing countries. Even in developed countries, you still find the same mentality that sciences are meant for men. So when we get together as women, because sometimes we have these small groups, the same initiatives that we have in Kenya right now, like for example, this platform, we have the same here where we have small groups of ladies and professors, women, they organize and they encourage us to keep going because they know that even in the labs, we still get that kind of look like you're a girl, you're not supposed to be here. And they really encourage us to be able to see a woman leading her own research team is very inspirational. And I believe that what we are doing here can really drive the agenda forward. Like we can really inspire girls to do better, to not only to believe that the only thing that is worth having a dream about is maybe singing or, those arts, because the voice of science for women has been suppressed. It's like so traditional. It's like a traditional thing to want to be a scientist. It's a traditional thing to want to be an engineer. So it's become like now you cannot even say in the open that I'm a scientist, because the first thing someone asks you is, do you have a family? And and even when you say you have a family, they always give you that look. So it doesn't matter where you go into the world, you'll always get that resistance, that women, there's always that kind of suppression. But if we can come out and give our voice, and we have so many organizations supporting us. For example, this year, the Nobel Prize for Chemistry went to 2 women. That was a very, very big, win for us, to show that you don't have to be up there, you don't have to, it's not about even just being about a male. It's anybody can do this. Even women have the opportunity to do this. And we should not just celebrate the big ones. Even the scientists working in the lab, the ladies working in a testing center, those are also people to be celebrated. Those are the things we should be celebrating. Those are the things that can inspire. We always forget that we all started somewhere small. We did not just land, we have done masters, we have our PhDs. It's really hard, but it's worth fighting for, the same way you would fight for a dream in music, the same way you'd fight for a dream in the arts. I believe that fighting for a dream in sciences should also be celebrated, even though it's something that is considered traditional. It's really something worth a while. And when we went with the same group with Susan, Linda, and some of the ladies here now, we had gone to visit a school in Kiambu. And the girls they were a bit skeptical at first, because apparently the previous week, they had a group of entrepreneurs and people who work in the finance sector come to talk to them and, flash this whole money. You can get money by doing this. You can do this course. And here we are telling them, you'll spend hours in the lab. It's very interesting to look at a machine. It's very interesting to do analysis. It's very interesting to publish papers. It's, so for them, they were like, why would I want to do this? What's so interesting for you? What does it come in for me? So I feel that by doing sciences, even by doing something like for example, like coming through nuclear science and being able to do my PhD, we should show the values and not only the knowledge that we have gained, but also how we have grown as in our own careers through sciences, so that they don't only believe that the money is only elsewhere, that you cannot have a life outside of science, and you can always be able to balance it. It doesn't mean that you have to be a man for it. So yeah, that's all I wanted to share. Thank you very much. And yeah, I will probably answer the questions. I saw someone raise their hand. Maybe we can answer later if you can be able to type your question in the chat. And when the discussion is over, maybe we can answer. Thank you so much, Susan. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you so much, Christine. Thank you for a very inspirational talk. And thank you for encouraging us that, irrespective of where we are situated, we can make it. And every woman should know that nobody gives you power, nobody gives you just an opportunity on a silver platter, that you are the one to take it by force, you're the one to know what's important to you, you are the one to fight for what you deserve, and everything else will fall in its place. We shall come to a question and answer session later because of time, and let us hear now from Ms. Anne Mutahi.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anne Wambui Mutahi, and currently I'm also a PhD student. I'm about to finish in this year. Actually, I'm supposed to submit my thesis by the end of November, so I'm really quite tight. But I thank you all of you for attending this, and thank you, Professor, and for inviting me for this talk. It is really useful for all the girls and everyone who is really interested in sciences. Okay, about myself, I was born and I grew up in Kajiado County, in central Kajiado. So my interest in science came way early because my father was kind of a scientist in veterinary. He was doing vet. So he used to teach me so much. He used to tell me all the botanical names of plants. So I grew up knowing so many plants with all those botanical names. And when I get to high school, I was so interested in sciences. I got so much interest in chemistry and physics. And actually, during my KCSE, I scored A for all of them. So when I was admitted in campus in the University of Nairobi, I studied environmental and biosystems engineering. And okay, I was not the best, but I was still an average student who I did my best. Then after the campus, I got a job with Safaricom. I was lucky to get a job even before I graduated. So I worked for Safaricom for 4 years. But one day when I was coming from work, we decided to meet with my brother, and he had a newspaper. So he was perusing, and he saw, this is an advert, you can do this. I applied for the scholarship for the nuclear science, which I got. And that was where my journey started for being a scientist. And if you can allow me, let me just share a few slides, and show you what I've been through in my science, in nuclear science. So this has been my journey. First of all, people hear nuclear science, they actually think nuclear science will deal with bombs and other fatal things, but actually we don't do that. Nuclear science is more or less a study of atomic world, where we mostly deal with the atom, where we have electrons and protons, and also the neutrons. And even us, ourselves, we are made of atoms. So even us, we are part of nuclear science. So we should not always be be scared when we hear nuclear science. These are some of the great scientists that really inspires me in my day-to-day life. Marie Curie and Albert Einstein, they were good scientists. More so, we have our own Wangari Maathai. She really fought for the environment. She was also a great professor. So mostly, as you can see, some of these great scientists were women, and as being women, we can emulate them. This is my journey in the university. I started in the engineering block, which is also part of this institute, and in the Institute of Nuclear Science. So this is where my journey started. In this nuclear science, we had different things. We did coursework. We had seminars that really encouraged us in this science. We were able to be trained how to talk, as Linda said before. We were able to be trained on how to talk with people. We are trained on different things like non-destructive testing. We also do more research in different fields. This is possible because we have well-equipped labs. As you can see, we have a gamma spectroscopy lab. We also have we have a radiation lab. We also have a non-destructive lab, which are all located in this institute. Other activities that I did during my master's, I participated in different activities, like we installed an instrument on top of one of our buildings, where we were sampling air around the Nairobi city. I was also participated in climbing Mount Renzori, where we were doing maintenance of our weather station. I also got an opportunity to go to Italy for a fellowship study, where this fellowship study enabled me to get this PhD I am studying right now. So I did my master's research on the mountain, where I was doing my analysis of what is going on, what is going on top of the mountain. So I analyzed the air. I also analyzed the glacier, and that actually encouraged me to look into the environment. And later, when I was admitted for my PhD, I'm right now looking at air pollution for both indoor and outdoor. I've done research on both in Kenya as my home country, and also I've done there in Italy. Surprisingly, as you can see, the team that I work with in Italy, most of us are women. So I would encourage all the women that we can also do it. And it's possible whether you're a man or a woman in science, so we can still do it. So more or less, that is my presentation about myself in nuclear science. And what I can say for now is that let us not fear away from science, and we will be able to make everything possible. This world is ours, and even as women, we can still make it a better place through research and as scientists. So let us be all, with all the support we need. Let's also men support us, as like our director in nuclear science, Professor Gatari. He really helps us and he mentors us in everything that we do. Like right now, also he is also my supervisor. He really pushes me, and when I'm about to maybe give up and maybe so many things are happening in my life, he actually pushes me and tells me it's possible. Please keep on keeping on. So, guys, thank you so much for this forum. I hope it will help one or two people out there, and they'll be encouraged to be scientists. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Anne. That's a very interesting presentation. And thank you for letting us know that as a woman, we also have equal opportunities. And it's all begins with the willpower, as we had said. And when you decide to do it, it will happen. Yeah. And also, you've mentioned something really important about mentorship and also working with teams that can encourage you in this journey. Thank you so much, ladies. That has been really interesting as in parts of your life. It's been interesting to know your journey through higher education since you started with us here at the Institute of Nuclear Science. We are proud to see that you're doing great out there and you're representing us in a nice way. Because of the time, guys, you know, we started late, and I'm checking at the charts. I can only capture 2 questions now, and maybe I can read the first question. Someone has asked, how do you balance academics and family or marriage as a woman? This question, I think I'll address it to Linda. Yeah? Linda, how do you balance academics and family or marriage?
Thank you, Susan. Maybe I will say, as I said before, that a PhD, a journey through PhD is not a solo. It's not a solo journey. You will need your mentors. You will need your supervisors. You will need you will need the science, of course, and also you will need a very supportive family, a family that understands you. For my example, I am married. I am also a mother of one. I tend to tell people that the fact that you have other ambitions of motherhood and you also want to be a scientist, a woman can have it all. Why not? And finding that balance for different people is different things. When I speak of this PhD journey not being solo and a woman can have it all, it's because some people believe that when you get to some point, or when you are transitioning from one part of life to another another period of life, is that, well, you can't do this, you can't do this. Do not compartmentalize all that. Sit down with either your husband or your family or whatever it is that you want to do. Let that person understand the fact that you have a brain, it works very well, and these are my ambitions, these are my journey, this is my voice. The fact that you're married does not mean that your head stops working. It also doesn't mean that it's a pause on your ambitions. It means that at this point in time, I have more things in my head, but I still have these ambitions. When you are able, as I said, you have to have a voice. It is so important that women get this voice, that you're able to stand on your own feet and say, this is what I want it with this time, I want to do it in this way, will you support me? And generally, when your partner or your family or even your mother, because some parents also don't want their children to study, it's not just your partner or marriage. There's some parents who actually do not want their children to go out of the country to study and things like those. So if they understand you and you are clear about what your objectives are, and you're able to come up with an arrangement that works for you, and an arrangement that will work for me may not work for someone else. But if you are not able to stand and express yourself and people understand, it will be very hard for you to find that balance. For me, I find the balance because I have very supportive family. My son gives me a lot of encouragement as opposed to when I was alone, because I also want my children to have a future. I want them to know that they can do anything. When I was this way, I faced this and this and this, but I still made it. So I also study, and I also do all these things as an example for my children, for example, and I have very supportive parents. So we come up, we talk, and we agree to do it. So the most important thing I have found for myself is finding that voice in you to speak, to be heard, and to be understood. Most women don't have that. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Linda, for answering the question so well. Then another person asked, did you ever regret pursuing nuclear science? And Yendo, maybe you can tell us whether you have any regrets about being our student earlier on.
Thanks, Susan. To be honest, I looked at that question, and to be honest and sincerely, I do not regret ever doing my program at the Institute of Nuclear Science. To answer you, Nancy, I think the beauty with this program, first and foremost, is because they take people from different backgrounds. Like in my class, we had engineers, we had people who did geology, we had astronomy guys. They take people with different backgrounds. So in my opinion, in my idea, you come to the institute to find yourself. You know, they are not training you to think in a given way. You have to come there, take the initiative. Of course, after the coursework, and especially when it comes to research work, they give you freedom to do what you want to do, so long as it's something tangible. And that's what actually happened in my case, because I came there, it's nuclear science, so they expect me to do like a very specific nuclear related research, but they gave me the opportunity to go out and find myself, and I did something slightly different, and they allowed me to grow. And based on that, I was able to, based on the project that I did, I was able to get a very nice scholarship in the UK. So it's a matter of you coming to the institute, finding yourself, taking the initiative, you know, having that drive, and Professor Gattari and the rest, they will always support you. So I do not regret. It's the best thing. Don't just look at it like you have to be trained in a specific way. And also my opinion with regards to life is that you have to be open, you have to adapt to different situations. So it doesn't mean that because you have a master's in nuclear science or a degree in physics, you have to do something specifically related to physics. You should be able to adapt and do other things as well. So for me, I do not regret. The best decision. If I could do it all over again, I'll still pick it up. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Anne, for that response. I hope Nancy now understands. I can't see any other typed question, but before the members think of a question to ask, maybe I would ask Christine. Yeah, how do you deal with the kind of people that see you as a woman first before they appreciate you as a scientist or a researcher?
I don't condemn them at first, because I really enjoy proving them wrong when we have to, when especially in situations where a discussion is required, and then you get to show that I'm not just a woman. You know, they expect that. They're always like expecting you to fail or to say something irrelevant or not even be able to contribute to something. So what I would advise is never just, never go into someone's face. Like, sometimes you would want to be aggressive inwardly. Perhaps you feel like you want to be aggressive and, just come out to this person and tell them to their faces. You just can't say, are you just assuming this because I'm a woman? Are you just doing this because I'm a woman? Leave them and prove it the best way. Do something that will definitely get them to think twice, or even get them to see that you're not just a woman, you're just a human being with a good brain, and you're always up to par. It's not always about it's not only about your sexuality as a woman. You also equally have the brain and capacity. So don't go fighting with your fists, fight with your brain.
Yeah, thank you so much, Christine. So it's not about what they call you, it's about what you answer. Yeah? Anne Mutahi, how did you identify role models who could show you the way forward and perhaps even to identify with the scientific community? And the reason I'm addressing this question to you, Ms. Anne Mutahi, I recall you joining the institute. We even didn't have a female member of staff. So it's a scaring scenario, yeah? Like when I'm down, who do I talk to?
Thank you, Susan, for that question. as I said earlier, my scientific urge came way early when I was a child, because my dad was a scientist. But while I was growing up, I also had an auntie who was also a scientist, who is also a scientist. She works in Kari, so she was my best friend. When I used to close school, I used to go to her house. I used to see how she could. She was struggling, writing papers, working very late, and okay, I liked the way she was dedicated to her work. And also, after coming to nuclear science, when I met Professor Gatari, she was one of my mentors, and our late director also. They played a big role in mentoring me and telling me from an engineering background, it was really hard for me also to adjust to nuclear science. So with all the mentorship, encouragement, I was able to fit properly and succeeded in nuclear science. Also, right now, as I go up in my PhD, I also have a very good team in Brescia, where we mentor each other also. And my supervisor also, she's called Laura. She's also a very good mentor, and she really encourages me and pushes me even harder to do what I can do better. And I think that has been my road throughout. But the biggest role that I can say that has played a big part in my journey as a scientist is Professor Gatari. He really mentored me and pushed me so hard so that I can be who I am today. With his networks, he was able to make me even enjoy one of my hobbies, which is climbing mountains. Where I went to Mount Rwenzori. Then I did my research also again in Mount Kenya. So with his help, I've come so very far. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Anne, for helping us understand how mentorship played a great role in your career. And from the members, I can't see any hands being raised here. Guys, you don't have questions. I hope I'm not overlooking any question here. Miss Anne Nyendo, you said you were passionate about mentoring young girls. This entails promoting the participation of women and girls in science because you're a scientist. And it's a hard task because you have to change mindsets, you have to fight gender stereotypes and biases in the community. So what are some of the challenges that you've encountered in your mentorship program? Or has it been an easy journey? Over to you, Anne.
Thanks, Susan. I haven't been in this journey for long. I only started last year. That's when we had the first drive in Cherengani in Kitale. And I haven't done the STEM background of it, but what I encountered last year and what is heartbreaking is that students or pupils in these regions, because we went to about 10 primary schools and the main objective was to mentor young girls. We want them to encourage them. Like what I actually did is I looked for women from these areas, the women that have gone through secondary, they've gone to colleges, they've gone to uni. So I sampled about 10 ladies, and then we went to these schools. Most of them were educated in these schools. So we went back to talk to the girls, and the main objective, I wanted the girls to see, like, if so-and-so has been through this system, has been through, say, this school, and she's where she is right now, so I can also make it. But one of the certain things that I encountered last year is that, and the teachers were saying this as well, is that they've never seen anything like this. So we don't have mentorship for young girls, and especially for young girls in primary school. and especially in rural areas, because one of the things I know is that most mentorship programs are aimed for girls in high school. And I feel, in my opinion, it tends to miss out on a very critical demography of girls who are transitioning between from primary school to secondary school. And I think it's something that we should start looking into it going in the future, is that we need to, I don't know, I know it's starting, but we need to find a way of reaching out to young girls, especially girls in primary school, not just girls in secondary school, and especially in these very rural areas. So that's one of the main challenges I encountered last year. And of course, other socioeconomic issues such as poverty, such as, early marriages and teenage with pregnancies. And I remember when we were following up on our mentors from last year, earlier this year, we wanted to find out if they have been able to join secondary school, and if not, what's the reason. And I remember last year we asked them to write, to give the details about their parents and the kind of jobs they do. And quite a number wrote that their parents were jobless. So when it came this year, we found out that most of the girls that were not able to join secondary school due to lack of school fees. Last year they'd written, they had indicated that their parents were jobless. So yeah, those are one of the few socioeconomic challenges we've encountered so far. We haven't begun the STEM mentorship. We should be starting soon, but we should start looking into mentoring girls in primary school. If you're able to, if you're listening, you don't have to do something, big. Just go back to wherever you came from or wherever your parents came from. Mashinani, and go to a primary school or a secondary school and talk to girls, not just girls, even the boys, and just encourage them. You don't have to, the fact that you've gone, I believe most of us here on this forum have gone to universities and we have degrees. You don't have to know, like, I don't know what the measure of success, but whatever you have, whatever small you have, is good enough, and you can go back and talk to people, talk to these peoples, and inspire them based on what you have, based on what you've achieved and what you aim to achieve. So do not wait until you get there. We'll never get there if we wait to get there. But whatever you have, no matter how small it is, just go back and share. Every one of you who is on this forum, I challenge you to go back to your parents' place or your shosho's place and go to 1 or 2 schools and share with the peoples whatever you can. Yeah, you just need to talk to the teachers, get 1 hour, talk to them, and that's good enough. You'll make an impact on someone's life. Yeah, thanks, Susan. I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anne. Thank you also for challenging us to go back to our roots here and encourage a girl. It will go a long way. My final question was to Christine. Being a woman in science, or rather, even a male in science, is associated with many challenges and even loneliness, because people think that you're just in the lab, locked up there, interacting with chemicals and reagents. How has it been for you working even in a foreign country? Because being in a foreign country is lonely by itself. So how has that combination worked for you?
Okay, it was hard, to be honest. Even though, you remember I said when I was doing my research back in my master's, I would come in at 6 and leave at 10. But that is when you're at home. And when you're at home, you have a social life with some people. To be honest, when I came here, it was really hard at first. I remember not wanting to buy things in my room because I was like, I am going back home. What am I doing here? It was so lonely, so lonely. But I want to borrow a line from Linda. She said, you cannot do this alone. You are not an island. You need support. So I remember one day, there's a group of Kenyans here who, there's an association of students in our city. Our city is Tianjin. And they invited me. They told me, come, we have this small thing, we're just having a small party to welcome the new students who are coming in from Kenya and coming to Tianjin. And I was skeptical at first because in my mind, I had already decided, like, I'm going back. Like, I don't want to create you know, those links, and then when I leave, it's going to be a problem. I was really feeling depressed. And I remember when I went to the party, I met other scientists, other students, scientists, PhDs also, not particularly in my school, but they were doing other fields. There are those who are doing medicine, there are those who are doing engineering. And we started sharing our problems of how we spend so many hours in the lab, and how when you get this opportunity to be with friends, it's really encouraging. It makes you feel like a human being. And those connections are not only limited to just that one time. You have phones, we can always communicate, always reach out to someone. It's not always about being alone. If a scientist would choose to be alone, for sure would go mad. I think we would die of madness and loneliness with our equations in the head, because we can really get, you know, when you start staying in the lab, you can really get caught up in so many things. But then that's how you lose yourself. You lose touch with being a human being. So reach out. Don't feel afraid to reach out, because sometimes we feel that when we reach out, we are being weak. And since we have chosen this path of science, which apparently everyone fears, that we should be strong, and, you know, we are human beings, and nobody will judge you for reaching out. Nobody will judge you for, I call Suzanne today and I tell her, I did an experiment for the past 3 months, it's been failing. And just to listen to random talking, it might not even be somebody who understands your field, but they understand you as a human being. So it's really up to ourselves as a scientists to reach out, and to know that people don't look at you as a robot or as a scary person. They look at you as a human being. We are our own worst enemies. We always look ourselves at like, I'm always in the lab, I'm a freak. But reach out. Don't be afraid to reach out. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, thank you so much, Christine, for encouraging us to reach out. I hope I can't see anyone raising their hand, so I hope I'm not hindering anyone from asking a question.
There's one question in the chat.
There's one. I can see Margaret. Also, Margaret, you have a question? Margaret, you can ask your question.
Yes, I have a question. So what are the channels of finding yourself into a career path after doing masters? Because I have done my undergraduate recently, and when I told my parents about it, they were very excited. But when I told them that I'm doing masters in nuclear science, they don't understand. But they're like, how many years are you going to do this course again? I'm like, 2 years. They're like, what? That's a lot of time you're going to be in studies. So are there channels for careers for after you clear in nuclear science?
Miss Anne Wamboy, maybe you can start with. You can try to answer Margaret.
Okay, Margaret. What I can tell you is that with nuclear science, which is multidisciplinary, what you specialize in will enable you to have a future career. So it doesn't matter how long it will take, because you're saying 2 years. 2 years is not long. You'll finish your master's. After finishing, I'm sure you'll get the right specialization, which will direct you to the right career. So it doesn't matter how long it will take, and feel encouraged to finish your master's first. Then after that, I'm sure there's a way out. You can also proceed doing a PhD like us, which is more or less related to what you'll do in your master's, or you can go to the other fields. You can apply for jobs, which you'll also get, because not all of us who did the masters are doing PhDs. Some of us are also in other industries doing different things. So be encouraged, finish your masters first, and the other things will come. That's all I can tell you for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. I hope Margaret are well answered.
Yeah,
Then
Susan, can I just add to that?
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you. And this is to Margaret. When you go to the Institute of Nuclear Science to take your master's, look at it like an investment. Like you're basically investing in yourself. You're basically investing in your future. So I know 2 years might sound a long time, and considering you just finished your undergraduate and you want to get a job, but once you get started with your master's, look at it as an investment. For me, I believe like right now I'm doing my PhD, I believe it's an investment. I still don't have a clear plan of where I will end up, but I know the 4 years that I've taken to do my PhD will definitely pay. So the 2 years you will take to do your master's will definitely pay in the long run. So look at it like an investment, the same way you start a biashara or something. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much, Anne. Cairo, you said you had a question?
Yeah, there was a question from John
Maybe
in
can
the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and he's asking, from your experience at your current institutions, what advice do you have for those aspiring to follow your footsteps? What do you know now that you wish you knew before going abroad for the specific course you are doing? How would you, I think, have prepared better? I think, yeah. So that's the question. It's also available in the chat in case you need to.
Okay, thank you, Cairo. I hope Linda has gotten the question. Linda?
Thank you. Looking at the question from Be Real, there are actually quite a number of questions. What advice would you have for those aspiring to follow your footsteps? What do you know now that you wish you knew before going abroad? Okay, so I'll take the first one. First of all is that I would tell you to look at the resources you have right now currently at your disposal. Most of you here are either at the institute or have been alumni of the institute, or you have somehow gone through that. Now, if you would want a career you would want to pursue a PhD, I would ask you to network with the people right there. They may have had, or you see, like the way Anne was just talking right now, she was saying maybe if you know someone who is specialized in a certain way. That's how most PhDs are generated. That's how you get an idea from someone wants a PhD this way. Talk to people who have networks already, talk to Susan, talk to myself. Another path is if you'd want to follow in a PhD, if you really want to do a PhD, you can also look at PhD postings that are posted online. There are different platforms that post that. And also, as I said again, I really will emphasize is that a PhD is not a solo journey. If you do it solo, you will not finish. What do you know now that you wish you knew before going abroad? The first thing I remember when I went to the Netherlands for the first time, I remember after, sorry, that's my son. I have this one. Yes, motherhood with studying. So I remember the first time I went for a PhD, for my PhD was I didn't understand the culture shock. You know, the first time you feel that you're going to a different country, you say, oh, you're so excited about it. But when you get there, you find that you're quite lonely. So if you could create linkages even before you go, because by the time you're going to do a PhD, you know who your PhD supervisors are. Tell him to link you maybe with members of the research group that you're going to work with. Talk to them, familiarize yourself with them, things like those. And what I wish I had known is this. It is never too late. Sometimes it is never too late to know something new. You know, sometimes we set our minds in a certain way that we do not like critique. The one constant thing that your PhD is critique. You will be continuously being critiqued on different things that the students who will be coming out of the masters will be open to criticism. And because every person will look at your work and they will ask, how did you do this? How will that explain the process? So be open and always be ready to learn, to try something new. How you appear better. I think maybe I will ask. For me, I've not lived long. I usually go there for 3 months, a year, come, go back years. But even in the 3 years, at the 3 months, you need to have a plan. You need to have a plan, and you need to have clear set objectives, especially if it's a research that is time bound. You find that time goes really, really, really fast. You said you'd want to finish this within this certain amount of time, and after some time you find the time has really gone. So have a plan, and know that a PhD is not a solo journey. You will need support systems. You will need your colleagues. You will need your supervisors. You will need mentors through the process. And the other thing, I think those are the 2 major things I would have. Have a plan, have a support system that understands you, and talk. Please have a voice. It's so important to have a voice. I don't think I can emphasize how important it is for you to have a voice, for your voice to be heard, for your ideas to be heard. Thank you, Susan. And I'm sorry for that interruption.
Thank you so much, Linda. And we are really encouraged by you girls. It's been a very interactive session, and all your stories summed up together. It's something that can take, as in that girl from the village, after listening to all of you, as in it's something enough to give them wings, yeah? And it's like that picture which they show us on these funny things on social media, a person who has just listened to a motivational speaker and is going to pull a lorry using a bike, yeah? Because it's really empowering, yeah? Just listening to you, it makes you feel like I want to do it tomorrow, yeah? Because it's doable and we can see it and we have seen the evidence. So I don't know whether there is anyone else with a question. Cairo, do you think I've missed on anyone else?
No, I think you've captured all the questions.
Yeah, and I don't want to keep you guys for long. Remember, we were supposed to end at 3:30, but we started late. That's why I have the confidence of eating your time, guys. Forgive me for that, because I forgave you for coming in late. And just as a parting shot from my side, every woman who is here, I can see from the list of attendees, we have a couple of women. I don't know what you're doing where you're seated. I don't know how many number of girls you're influencing. I don't know how many number of girls you're mentoring. But as Annie and Endo said, you need to go back to your village and inspire a girl. So as a woman, you should push forward, because every woman is creating a positive change for the woman who will come after her. You are not the first woman and you are not the last woman. You found someone before you. Your mother was there, and maybe your mother has been inspiring you. Anne Mutahi told us that she had aunts who are inspiring her. So what are you doing? Are you working hard to inspire the woman who will come after you? And by this working hard, it doesn't mean just sitting there and waiting for opportunities. Sometimes it's hard. Yeah, we've heard from this lady. Sometimes it's not easy. You need to fight. Yeah, you need to bring your seat at the high table. Men have already organized their seats around the table. Come with your folding chair because your seat is not there. Yeah, always walk with that portable and let them create space for you on that high table. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you, members, for attending, all those who attended, even those who are not from the Institute. I'm really encouraged to see the names of people that I don't know. Thank you so much for the support. At this moment, I would like to hand over the meeting to our director, Professor Gatade. Yeah, I'm sure he has something to say. Thank you.
Wow. I'm so impressed and I clap for all of you. It's beautiful. Actually, this is the first webinar from the Institute, and I was like last night saying, oh my, will it succeed? But I'm impressed because we had over 30, in fact, the number went up to 36, but it's very impressive. The other shot I would like to throw to you people is, my two daughters have done mathematics. When they were going to do mathematics, statistics at university, every parent in our so-called village were asking them, what will you be after you do mathematics? Can you see how discouraging it is? What will you be? Because to them, if you do mathematics, you become a teacher. That is what is in their mind. And it is the wording itself is very discouraging. Today, what they are doing is not, they are not doing mathematics, they are doing very interesting things, which I'm not going to expound. But I can say they are successful in whatever they are doing. The other one is never let anybody put you down because you're a woman. Don't you ever accept. Don't also close your mind, talk. Because the people who go to the other world or start shouting on the streets are those who keep all their pressure onto themselves. But I don't know whether you have ever realized that when you talk to a neighbor or a friend, even an enemy, because for some of the friends are actually enemies, be aware of that. They're not very good, but they will talk to you nicely. But don't worry, just talk to them because it comes out of you. They can go and use it to scandalize you in the village or whatever they want. After all, you won't change. If you are Anne, you remain Anne. If you are Susan, you remain Susan. Also, carry the boys along with you. Don't just also discourage them. Show them that you want to kill their life. And two, for Margaret. Margaret, knowledge is very, very important. And the knowledge you get in the institute will help you to be, like they told you, to be what you want in the future. Two, nuclear science and technology is applied, is an application field, is a profession in applications, and it is applied. You tell me where it is not applied. In the airport when you are going out, those scanners of your back. In hospitals, when you go, you are sick, those scanners there. In agriculture, in forestry, is not only within the academic world, there is also all these other wide scope fields. And for your knowledge, most of the people who are gone our institute, because there were small groups in early years, are all employed in different descriptions of employment within the scientific community. Maybe one or two may be in business, but it depends. So Margaret, the knowledge you get, first of all, will boost you. It will boost your insights. Even when you go into whatever field you go thereafter, the understanding of the application of nuclear science knowledge will help you, like they told you, to understand much more. You hear Anne is doing astronomy. You know, astronomy is behind the innovations we enjoy today. The driver of all the innovations in digital, in nuclear electronics, not in nuclear, in electronics in general, the Silicon Valley business, the driver is astronomy field, when they are looking for sensors to deal with outer space. So obviously they had to push the technology upwards. So don't worry, just invest, like Anne told you. Invest in that knowledge, and believe me, you tell us it will have helped you in the next stage. And if you get the opportunity to go for PhD, please do, because PhDs in general are not many globally. In fact, I saw statistics of US, of all the graduate students, the masters is astronomical. The PhDs are 2%. So you can see, like you are told, it needs investment. In any case, when you have knowledge, Even if you go to your village to dig and so forth, you dig differently from people who have no knowledge. That I always tell people. So anyway, thank you very much. It has been an impressive activity, and we are going to continue this. We are going to call men now next time, and then we hear their side of the story. So from now then, I had to John to at least give us a vote of thank you, and please stay in touch. And when you develop your program, like I told you when we met on Skype, include this institute activity of women in science.
Thank you.
It will help. It will also, in future, it might help in boosting the funding also.
Yeah, thank you.
So thank you very much.
I'll be uploading this video on our YouTube channel. So once you get it, you can share it on your various platforms.
Yeah, I actually should have started with you, Cairo, so that you tell us the next step. So take it over. Thank you.
Okay, I don't want to water down the interesting discussion. It was all about women. So I will, I only want to say maybe we'll support them. We are behind you. Just know that we are behind you and we are really proud of you. And thank you for setting the pace for the other women. So I'll just invite Biril to give a vote of thanks. And then, as I said, look out, I'll send out the link for where you can share this recording. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think before I make my vote of thanks, I would like all of you to turn on your cameras. I want to try one more to capture our faces in one group photo. Huh? Yeah, let's do a group photo. Please kindly turn on your camera so that you already did once earlier when we started. I just want to see if we'll have something better. All of you kindly turn on your cameras. Yeah, all of you turn on your cameras. I'm still waiting, it's loading. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 16. Yes, but I can see you there, okay. Anyone else still trying to turn on their cameras? And I'll keep recording. So keep smiling. Just keep on smiling, but don't go away. I'm using what is it called now? Sniping. So I have to capture and save. So yeah, so keep on giving me that smile. All right, so now I can give my vote of thanks. It's good to see you all. So for bandwidth reasons, if you wish to take off your camera, it's okay. So the girls have spoken. Let me call them girls. All right, so I'm really proud of you. I think we are all proud of you. It's been a real honor and privilege to know you. and to have met you at an earlier time when even public speaking was, I can imagine a few years back when we started together. Yeah, when Prof was asking us to make presentations, we used to think that he's really punishing us. But looking at what I have seen today, Matindi, Susan, Linda there, even Anne, the two Annes, I think you have really done us proud. I'm sure Prof is very proud of you. Like, even myself, I am shocked. Like, the level of people we have now is not the people I knew when we started on this journey together. So I think I wish we could clap. But yes, we can clap. At least we can see you. You have done us proud. Yes. Yeah. So I know we are in different time zones. I know Matindi now is going to almost 9 p.m. Yeah, so it's a good evening to you. So we really thank you for your time. I know you guys, you are busy in all your schedules, whatever you are doing. You are really busy. And you having found time to do this within the short notice. I'm sure it was a short notice. And this was like testing the waters. And the pace you have set, we are waiting now. Next, I think we're expecting the boys from the north. I can Anselim, Knadede. So you guys should be ready. All right, so I think that will be our next seminar, and you have really set a very good pace. I think people normally say that the women who pursue education, when God does not bless you with a good face, you end up in education. But in our situation today, you're only seeing beauty and brains, right? Beautiful women with beautiful brains, and it's really amazing. And this having been organized by the University of Nairobi, the Institute of Nuclear Science, we are really hoping that, Prof, this, even though this started as UON at 50 and all this, we are hoping that this really will continue so that we keep tabs with all our alumni wherever they are. And this is a really good start. So having been organized from the University of Nairobi, the nuclear science, I think for those who had questions, career paths, I remember who Paula Coco was saying is in microbiology and biotechnology, but really nuclear science, it's a multidisciplinary. So today, our panelists, we had, I think, 2 engineers. Our moderator is a chemist. We also had a panelist, a chemist, and the astrologer, the physicist. I'll call you physicist. So basically, it's a multidisciplinary program, and it really brings everybody on board. So really thank you all of you for finding time to participate in this, for your contributions, your comments, your questions. Paula Coco, Cecilia Mwangi, Wilson Cairo, Nancy Owili, and Selim, and all the others. Margaret, thank you all for your contributions. I also wish to thank Wilson Cairo specifically for his technical and publicity support. I think he has really done a lot of work in supporting this, in setting up the whole of this seminar, and also making it public, informing people in all the platforms, the social media, our nuclear website. So Wilson, thank you very much for being our champion, our technical and our publicity, everything. Also, this being a multidisciplinary program, I think amongst the attendees here, you will find that they're actually people from different fields, and everybody is looking for applications in their respective area. So in terms of career paths, somebody asked, all that is actually multidisciplinary. You can end up in non-destructive testing. You can end up being a professor yourself. You can end up being in the Nuclear Electricity Board, or what, NUPEA, you have Kenya Nuclear Regulatory Agency, we have people from the government chemists, and they are applying this, all the like our panelist Matindi herself is applying all this in the government chemists in non-destructive testing. So also when you are pursuing your higher education, PhD, other than looking at being employed, the people we have had, the panelists today, we are looking forward to them actually coming up and setting up companies based on what they are developing. If Matindi, you are developing new materials and you're actually patenting them, what stops you from pursuing that further? Susan herself is developing batteries. So what is stopping you from, in the future, instead of us reading Eveready, we are reading Susan batteries based on what you're actually developing. So we are looking for that PhD is not just the end. It doesn't end there, but even as you work on it, you are also thinking of how can I extend this into the future. So you can all be thinking about that. I think, what more do I have to say? So, yeah, I think even though we mourn the tough times we live in, the COVID season, but I think one of the benefits that has come out of every challenge, as they say, this was a challenge, COVID was a challenge, but now we have webinars. I don't think if COVID had not happened, if we'd be having this kind of interactions, but thanks to COVID, actually now we know that we can do all these things online. So yeah, I think having said that, I thank you all for participating. Thank you for the panelists. Thank you, Susan, for running this in a very good way. We are late by only a few minutes, but by all standards, we are on time. So thank you all. Yeah, that's all from me. Prof, maybe if you want to close.
Maybe now it is Kairo's baby for prayer.
For prayer, yeah, okay.
And yeah, you have given them a very good. Why is there that somebody is on? There is an echo. I couldn't understand where it's coming from. You are giving them a very good advice, and yeah, let's keep ourselves going. We are going to. Cairo has not been letting me sleep because of this. You know, Leader is the chair of this business of 50 University of Nairobi at 50, but he knew Cairo was the best medicine for me because he's a software guru. But anyway, thank you very much, Wilson. You did well, because hadn't you pushed me, I have so many things I keep on postponing and I never finish anything. And it was good also for Annie Mutahi to tell Cairo, let me get rid of this instead of postponing to next week, because I had proposed a postponement since most of you are saying we are busy. And then Cairo told me, oh, Anne said that she wants to get away from it so that she can continue with that. And I agreed in principle. We have succeeded. We are great. And we are nuclear scientists and technologists. Girls, remember, International Atomic Energy Agency is always complaining we don't have enough employees in the agency, women employees from the South, and especially Africa. So keep that in mind. So don't mourn that there are no. Margaret, first of all, I know you saw that you have seen they have started the program Marie Curie. So it's another way, especially safeguards. Safeguards is a pity. Kenyans don't even apply. You know, so you are not studying for nothing. And even if you finish astronomy, you could still go to IEA if you have nothing else better to do. So, right. Thank you very much. Wilson, take over your baby. I am finished and I'm so happy. Today I'll sleep very nicely because you kept me awake. And I'm satisfied we shall succeed even in the next one. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Somebody should play also.
Yes, I'll ask Margaret to pray for us, and then you can leave at your own pleasure. So, Margaret.
Yes.
You can make a closing prayer, a short one.
Okay. Yes. Okay, let's pray. Our Father in heaven, we come before you. We thank you so much for this time that you have granted us. Thank you, Father, for bringing us together from all over. We are from different places, but God, through this platform, we have come together, and today we have really learned a lot. Today has been a blessed day, has been great. All of us have garnered a lot, and I'm sure whatever we have been told, it's going to be of great impact to us, even in future, and into our studies and careers and everything. I pray for everybody who is involved in this platform today. Be with them, guide them, and protect them. Thank you, Father, for families and everybody who you have given unto us. I pray, trusting and believing in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. So you can leave at your pleasure now.
Thank you, Cairo. Thank you, everyone. God bless you all. Bye.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.